Hello everybody, welcome to Scottie's Toy Box. I'm Scottie, and today I want to talk about a rather interesting subject. And it might take us a bit of time, so I suggest everybody just grab a piece of that internet, slide on in here, get comfortable, have a sit down, get your favorite drink or beverage, and just listen to me chat on for a moment. I'm not really happy with this camera. I purchased, or I didn't purchase, but I had a good camera that I had purchased, and it got snagged and dropped on the floor, and so it doesn't work right anymore. I got to get a new one, and I'm using an old backup. It doesn't have the resolution. It's a little bit hinky, and everything in every way I try turning the lights on and off, my face is red. Matches my shirt, I guess. And I don't know. Usually there's is a tint issue, but I haven't played around enough with it to figure it out. And it doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about, except it does. The color of one's skin. I want to talk about that. The color of a person's skin and the biases around them. Now, recently, I had a person by the name of Amanda come to my blog. And I first ran into her when she left a comment on something I had posted, a meme that said, "Is this WordPress or Tumblr?" Which I don't know why that was an important question to her, but it was. I'm not really sure why she needed to know that, but I did answer her. Now, in the course of 3 days in that first one, we had many go-rounds about race and color. But that's not where it started. It started that she was offended over what I had posted as a meme about Mr. Trump. And to look at that, I would like to take you right back to that first comment. So hold on while I get it all set up and queued up. Okay, so the first comment that she left was based on this meme here, where it's called T. Rump's World, and it shows two women talking when one of them is holding a miniature baby Trump. And it says, "Keep waiting. We keep waiting for him to say something intelligent, but so far it's just loud, obnoxious, idealized nonsense." That was the meme. And this was Amanda's comment. "The bills promoting women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is intelligent. The border wall is intelligent. The travel ban on Muslim countries is intelligent. Stricter immigration policies is intelligent. So there is a few ways this cartoon is wrong off the top of my head." Well, I responded to her, and there was another immigration cartoon and a third one about the DC forecast in that same post, but she didn't answer. So I responded, "Hello, Amanda. Your first comment makes no sense and doesn't have a relationship to the post." That was the one on what blog it was. I said, "The wall is an unneeded farce," which is true. It is. "A money pit that is impractical and unworkable. Get beyond the talking points and look at the real reports. Immigration on that border is way down. Far more illegals come across the Canadian-US border, but no one wants a wall there. I wonder why, because those are white people." "The wall is a boondoggle that even Trump admitted was unimportant except politically. And he did admit that in the call he had when he first became president, when he was inaugurated on his first few days in the White House with the Mexican president. And he said to him, 'You got to stop saying that you won't pay for the wall. I need you to say that you will. I need you to stop saying you won't, because, hey, I'm running on that. That makes me look big and good, and I have to look big and good.' Anyway, I went on to reply, 'The ban on religious groups makes no sense and is constitutionally illegal. We have far more violence and terror caused by white Christian men, but we are not banning men or Christians. The fear of a different religion plus a fear of Christianity losing its primary position in this country is what it is. Stricter immigration is only good to protect the white majority privilege, something that is going to go away anyway. Do you know what happened in Georgia when they banned immigrants? This is an important part. She never addresses any of the stuff I ask her. Well, the food producers tanked in Georgia. And I won't read the rest of the comment except the numbers. They lost $140 million plus. Basically, the food rotted on the ground and consumer costs went up because there was nobody to pick it. When Georgia passed a very strict anti-immigrant, we're going out and we're going to check everybody on the farms and that, the immigrants left in droves, legal and illegal. They just left the state. And now I've picked crops when I was a kid. When I went to church boarding school, I spent a summer there, and I had a choice of working in the factory or in the fields. And the factory produced desks and wooden furniture and that. Well, I didn't like working around wood because I just didn't care for it. It wasn't my thing, but I'd always been on farms and a farm boy, and I thought, well, how hard can it be to pick corn, or other vegetables? Well, I spent a week doing that, and I'll never do it again unless I'm desperate. I mean, I'd have to be desperate. I don't think I could physically do it now. It is hot, miserable, itchy, horrible work. I think it's probably the worst I've ever done, and I've been up to my frickin' chest in manure before. I've been in silos that I've had to shovel out and they reeked. I've helped birth calves. I've done a lot of gross things, but are just natural. But Mr. Man picking crops, that week of picking corn, and that was the only one we picked because that was the one they had to get in. That was more than I want to do. I was thinking it'd be like when I grew up, at home and would go out to the garden and pick 10 ears of corn and some peppers or whatever and it is not. It is miserable work. Those people don't get paid anywhere near enough, and the costs of the groceries in our stores don't equal what they should be paid. But anyway, so that was my response basically to Amanda. And all these comments are online and you can read them. Well, from there she went crazy. And I'm not really making a hyperbole on that. The fact is, Amanda did not ever come out and say that she hates it when I say she sounds racist. But she very much is. Because she has white privilege. And she doesn't see any of this other stuff. And I don't know her history, and I don't know if she's never done anything that immigrants and that do. But I can tell you from the way she talks. Now, I want to skip, I'll finish out reading what she wrote here, just so we can understand. This post is about Trump not saying anything intelligent, and my comment was about something intelligent he did, so it does factor and relate to the post. See, she missed that the first one was, is this a WordPress or Tumblr blog? Anyway, I don't understand how you can... white Christian men are killing people all over the world in the name of Muhammad. No, perhaps read the Quran and do a little homework before you chime in with Islamic apologetics. All right. Now notice here what she did. I said, right here, we have far more violence and terror caused by white Christian men, but we are not blaming white men or Christians. It is a fear of a different religion plus a fear of Christianity losing its primary position in our country. Key, our country. But she can't, she had to change it that Christian men are killing in the name of Muhammad. Now, why would they do that? They do kill. Usually in the name of somebody named Jesus, which my understanding is he's okay with that as long as they're not Christians. You can kill all of them. Because apparently they want to. Anyway, so her little screed here shows her biased. Now, I was thinking of two things. First of all, I was thinking of my personal life in the United States as an openly gay man. I have been assaulted by Christians, been denied jobs by Christians, I've been denied housing by Christians. I've had people tell me that their God hates me because I'm gay. Okay? And they were Christian. In school growing up, in public school, I had lost friends who found out that I had a gay sexual orientation, and they came back to me and handed me Bible verses to tell me just how abhorrent I am to God. Now, these weren't Muslims doing this. These were not Jewish people doing this. These were Christians who were so proud of themselves. I was once unloading my weapon. I had a Glock 9mm. It was Glock 17. And I had already taken the magazine out, and I was doing the action to get the bullet out of the chamber. Yes, we carried one in the chamber. We had to be ready. And the guy standing behind me hit me on the top of the frickin' head as hard as he could, driving me to my knees. It's just a miracle that gun never went off. Okay? And he told somebody he was proud that he had knocked that faggot to his knees. He was a good Christian, you know. He led Sunday school Bible studies. But he was so friggin' dumb, he hit me on the head, driving me to my knees when I was unloading my weapon. He could have been hurt. Ricochet. I mean, granted, our setup was pretty good, but not when somebody's knocked to their knees. So in my lifetime, no Muslim has ever threatened me personally. But a whole lot of Christians have. And that's what I was replying to Amanda to. But she can't see that and she can't agree with it. And all through the many days of our conversation, she keeps denying this. And I only have to ask why. Is she a white supremacist? Or a white nationalist? I don't think she's a white supremacist. I do think she's a white nationalist, and I think she has white privilege. But anyway, it goes on. I don't understand how you can have disdain for only Christianity and not Islam. They are equally bad in the very least, and frankly, Islam is worse. Well, obviously she doesn't follow my blog because she'd know that I have disdain for pretty much all religion. And the fact is that it all depends on what your religion is allowed to get away with. Now, in an Islamic country, as an openly gay man, I wouldn't have a long life at all. I probably wouldn't be living. I sure wouldn't be living as an openly gay man, probably. But if I was found out to be gay, I'd probably be killed. In an Islamic theocracy, that's the point, a theocracy. Okay? Now, in the United States, we don't have a theocracy yet, but there are religions, the Christian religion, that have attempts at making this a theocracy. They really want to. They're called dominionists, and they exist. They're fundamentalists. And you can look at the Todd Starnes and the what's that brown guy there, Brian Brown, that goes around trying to make their religious laws the laws of the land. And oh my God, you can't have this or that because the Bible says no. Our Bible is more important than the laws of the lands and civil rights and that. So you really got to understand that the reason Christianity does not do the same things that Islam does is not because Christianity is better. It's because it's been partially defanged, and they're trying to grow their teeth back. Basically, we had the Enlightenment period, the periods where civil government took over from religious rule. And that is, I think somebody once called it the Reformation or something like that. I'm not really 100% sure of that terminology. But basically, we put religion behind civil laws. And that really, for a while, took the wind out of religion's sails because they couldn't do what they'd been doing before. They now had to follow laws and rules. But in a theocracy, they don't. Religion is the government. Religion runs the government. Religion gets to make the rules. And I hear all this about Sharia law, and Amanda goes into this deeply. Oh, the horrors of Sharia law. Guess what? Sharia simply means religious law. And that's exactly what the fundamentalists want to do here, the fundamental Christians. They want their religion made law. So, tell me, if they were to get their way in power, what would they do? There are Christian leaders that have met with T. Rump, and with Pence. Pence shared a stage with one who just had spoken about how all gay people should be killed. That's a Christian leader. And Pence came right on afterwards. Great speaker, loved it, really good, So don't think it couldn't happen. But anyway, to go on what she says, illegal immigrants are not welcome in America. Legal immigrants certainly are welcome. Then she goes on to say that we don't need any immigrants. About 4 comments from now, she'll say that we don't need any immigrants. We have enough people in this country and we can do it all. And no, that's sadly wrong. So anyway, she goes, undocumented people taking our jobs, benefiting from our tax dollars, and committing crimes under the radar. Well, let's go look at this taking our jobs. They're not really taking any job that you want to do and that white people want to do. There are jobs in construction. There are people who are hired into that. I know when we lived in West Palm Beach, right outside of West Palm is the Lake Okeechobee and that, and huge between the two were huge sugar fields. And there was a lot of migrant workers that worked in the sugar industry. And it, again, miserable, hard work, and they couldn't get white people to do it. Belglade, which was the next town right next to them, had some of the highest unemployment. And they had nothing. They had a barely functioning hospital, no real stores and that. No infrastructure, because the white people wouldn't work in the sugar industry. Stop and think about it. Now, benefiting from our tax dollars, in what way? As I told Amanda, when immigrants work, they pay in to taxes. When they buy things, they pay taxes. Illegal immigrants also do the same, unless they're getting paid under the table. But to work for a company or a corporation or any place where they draw a paycheck, they have to have a social security number. Now, if they get given one legally, they can't be illegal, can they? Doesn't make sense. But if they're illegal, they'll make up a number or use a number that somebody else uses, that is legitimately somebody else's. I've known people that happened to. And guess what? The IRS loves it. Oh, God, it makes them giggle with fun. Because why? They're getting money off of 15, 20 different Social Security numbers they know the people can never draw on. That illegal immigrant who's getting his paycheck, and on that paycheck stub it says so much for all the taxes, they can't use it. That's money that's gone to them. Now, it might be for the rest of us in the future, but for them, it's simply gone. So they're not taking our jobs, and they're not using our taxpayer benefits. If you are an illegal, and she goes into this in depth, and I know this for a fact, if you are an illegal, you cannot use the SNAP program, the WIC program, you cannot get assisted housing, so they're not getting big benefits, okay? Can they go to the ER? Yes, everybody can. And we better make sure that they still can, because we don't want diseased, sick people running around giving it whatever they got to the rest of us, and we sure don't want people dying on the street. Now, what about, let me see, could they be getting unemployment in that? No. Again, illegals can't use the benefits of our society, and that's written right into the law. It's part of the laws of these programs. But some people either don't know that, or they want to ignore it and pretend. Oh, they're taking all our tax dollars. You know, I pointed out to Amanda, and I'm going to point it out here, and I don't mean any disrespect, because I was in 2 branches of the service. I enjoyed it. I had a good time, and if I was young enough to do it again, I would. One of the greatest recipients, the largest population of people using food assistance, is military families. For all the talk of the Republicans that they honor the troops and they're proud of the troops and we got to have a bigger defense budget, and they keep increasing the defense budget, that money is not going to the troops. They get minuscule amounts. When I was first in the service, I was getting paid about $512 a month. Yeah. Families are really hard hits, especially if a family member in the service has to go overseas. It's incredible, and they need all the assistance this country can give them, and they're one of the big. You know, the second biggest group that takes food stamps and housing assistance? Walmart workers. Think about that. Our taxpaying dollars are subsidizing the Walmart Corporation so that Sam Walton's heirs can have more billions. That's where your real welfare goes. Corporate welfare. Companies that get out of paying taxes, companies that don't have to pay a living wage so that the taxpayer will pick up the expense. Alrighty, just one more thing. She goes on to say, try sneaking into another country and see what they do to you. Guaranteed you won't live to see another day. That's bullcrap. Look at all the refugees crossing borders and that everywhere in Europe. And I'm going to end this particular segment. This is segment 1 on Amanda. By saying that the way to stop immigration, illegal immigration, and refugee immigration is not with walls, with fences and landmines and armed troops. It is with making conditions better so these people do not have to leave their homes, are not fearing for their lives, are not scared to death. The people that came in that caravan from Mexico, they are not invading the United States. There's about 200 of them left that made it all the way to our border. They're sitting there, they're waiting, they're asking for asylum. They didn't sneak over the border. For all of Fox News' big drama about, 1,000 people in a caravan headed to attack the United States, they're going to sneak in and they're going to take everything. Bullcrap. This is something that happens almost yearly. And it happens for months at a time. The people get together because it's safer to travel that way. These are people who are from war-torn countries, drug-torn, gang-torn countries, where the women and children are raped, and children of both sexes. The men are raped if it just makes them happy to. They constantly just shoot anybody. There is no laws anymore to protect these people, or no legal enforcement of the laws. These are people that have to go elsewhere if they want to live. Now, you and I, we do the same thing. If a gang took over our neighborhood or whatever, we'd either get out or protect ourselves as best we could. But there was no police to come help you, no military to take over. If all it was that kind of environment where you literally had no food, no money, no nothing, and you were constantly threatened, you'd leave. You'd go over the Canadian border. You'd go over the Mexican border. But these people that came in that caravan were simply working. Most of them stay in Mexico or try to get asylum in Mexico. And then they work their way to the United States border, where they say, hello, please help us, we're dying. Now, should America be the world's refugee center? Well, considering how few we take in and how much we have, you know, if we weren't giving the 1% huge mansions and 15,000 acre ranches and all that they don't even use and have 15 houses each, and we might have a little bit of money to put towards social programs. But that's another topic. This has been section 1. Thank you. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you on the next section. Hugs.